Okay, I am back with, this was another idea, was the spray adhesive. So I decided to go with the kind that's permanent or repositionable. And so here's the experiment that I've done so far. I sprayed through a stencil, and I actually did it backwards because I wanted the stencil to have repositionable adhesive on the back, so that one's off just drying. But while this was still wet, I put the foil on top. So this is Deco foil by iCraft, and that did not stick to the adhesive. I didn't leave it, so it might, if I'd left it, maybe it would have stuck finally. But what I did was I put the whole thing through my laminator, and it did end up sticking. So I did a terrible job of spraying, but that was kind of a cool idea. So then I was like, oh, well, maybe I can just spray a sheet of cardstock. So when you use these sprays, I didn't realize this when I started using them, but I do this now. You hold it upside down and spray to clean the nozzle so it doesn't get clogged. And so what I did was I just took a piece of cardstock, sprayed upside down onto the piece of cardstock, and then I foiled the whole thing. So these two icky spots, I tried to lift again the foil up right away. It didn't stick, so I pushed it back down and then ran it through the laminator. So this part, it's kind of cool looking. It almost has like a crackly look to it. And then I could just die cut from there. But I will caution you that, so when I run through the laminator, I use paper carrier sheets. And so some of the glue got on the paper sheets and kind of ripped the paper, which is fine. I can just use some new carrier sheets. But just be careful if you're going to do this with the glue. I wouldn't put this through the laminator without a carrier sheet of any kind. That would not be a good idea. So in any event, if you want to give that a shot, probably I would let it cure first, excuse me, and see if potentially it would stick if you just let it sit on the adhesive for a little bit longer. But I had the machine going, so I figured I would give it a shot this way. So anyway, once again, I'll be back when the pastes are cured. Oh, and I forgot to mention, it's really hard to see the color of this foil. The foil is actually like a rose color, but if you can see right here, there's gold. This was the part where I started to lift it up. It wasn't working, so I pushed it back down, and the adhesive must have gotten pulled. I don't know what ended up happening. And so when I pushed it back down and ran it through the laminator, I put some gold on top because and ran it through a second time. So that's what that little gold blob is. So anyway, if you're going to do it this way, again, cautions to use a carrier sheet, and don't lift it. Just stick it. If you're going to do this, just stick it right through, unless you want to test let it sit for a few minutes or a while to see if the permanent adhesive will dry and work. If you don't mind wasting foil, I'll be back. Okay, last thing. So I just did want to show you. This was a tag that I made. I missed a little spot there, but that sheet that I had done where I just had the plain piece of cardstock and used the glue and then added the foil, I was left with a sheet of foiled cardstock. And so that is really fun to just go through and use to cut the embellishments after the fact. So rather than doing the die cuts and then adding the foil, I just made a sheet of foil and then cut the embellishments from it. So it really helpful to make embellishments to add to cards and tags and things like that. So anyway, thanks again for joining me. See you next time.